Imagine for a moment you're standing in a room filled with people looking at you, not just with their eyes, but with expectation, with hope. They're not just waiting for instructions, they're waiting for leadership. But here's the thing, being a leader is not about having a title, authority, or power. It's about something much deeper. True leadership isn't demanded, it's earned. It's not about telling people what to do, but inspiring them to want to do it. At the core of every great leader's success is a deep understanding of why they do what they do. Most people in organizations know what they do. Some even know how they do it, but only a few truly understand why they do it. The why is not about making money or achieving status. It's about purpose, belief, and the reason you exist beyond the financial or operational side of things. When a leader starts with why, they don't just manage people, they inspire them. People don't buy into what you do, they buy into why you do it. This is the key difference between leaders who demand compliance and those who foster commitment. When people believe in your vision, they don't need constant oversight or motivation because they are naturally driven by the same purpose. A leader's job isn't to push people, but to create an environment where they are pulled towards something greater than themselves. Think about some of the most influential leaders in history. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't stand on a podium and say, "I have a plan." He said, "I have a dream." He spoke about a future that people could believe in. He inspired millions because his why was clear. He wanted equality, justice, and a better world. People followed him not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to be part of something meaningful. The same principle applies to business and personal leadership. Companies like Apple don't just sell computers and phones. Their why is about challenging the status quo and thinking differently. Because they operate from this foundation, their customers don't just buy products, they buy into the mission. They feel a sense of belonging, a shared belief in the vision. That's why Apple has one of the most loyal customer bases in the world. A leader who understands their why can unite people with different backgrounds, skills, and perspectives under a common purpose. This is crucial because in any team, there will always be differences. Differences in opinion, work styles, and personal goals. Without a clear why, these differences can create division. But when everyone is aligned with a purpose, those same differences become strengths. Consider a workplace where employees feel disconnected from the company's mission. They show up, do the bare minimum, and count down the hours until they can leave. Now, compare that to an organization where the leader consistently communicates why their work matters. Employees don't just work for a paycheck, they work because they believe they are contributing to something bigger. In such an environment, engagement, creativity, and commitment skyrocket. Starting with why also builds resilience. Challenges and setbacks are inevitable, but when people are driven by purpose, they are far more likely to push through difficulties. When a leader's why is clear, they don't crumble under pressure, they adapt, pivot, and continue forward because they are anchored by something deeper than momentary obstacles. Leaders who fail to communicate their why often struggle to gain long-term loyalty. They may achieve short-term success through authority or incentives, but without an inspiring purpose, their influence weakens over time. Employees leave, customers lose interest, and momentum fades. But leaders who operate from a strong why create movements, not just moments. It's important to note that discovering your why is not always easy. It requires deep reflection and self-awareness. Many leaders make the mistake of assuming their why is simply to be successful or to make money, but those are results, not reasons. To find the true why, one must look inward and ask, what impact do I want to make? What legacy do I want to leave? What problem am I passionate about solving? Once a leader identifies their why, the next step is to communicate it consistently. This is not a one-time statement in a speech or a mission statement buried in a company handbook. It must be woven into every action, decision, and conversation. People should feel it in the way you lead, the way you interact, and the standards you uphold. When leaders embrace their why, it also creates authenticity. In a world where people are bombarded with messages and marketing, Authenticity is rare and valuable. People can sense when a leader is simply going through the motions versus when they are genuinely passionate about their mission. Authenticity breeds trust, and trust is the foundation of strong leadership. Great leaders don't just talk about their why, they live it. Every decision they make aligns with their purpose. If a leader's why is to empower people, they will invest in their team's growth. If their why is to innovate, they will foster a culture of creativity. When actions consistently reflect purpose, people believe in the leader, not because they have to, but because they want to. In any environment where leadership exists, there is one fundamental need that every individual craves: safety. A great leader understands that people perform at their best when they feel secure, valued, and protected within their organization, team, or community. This is what it means to create a circle of safety, a culture where people know that their leaders have their backs, where they don't have to constantly look over their shoulders, and where they can focus on their work without fear of blame, punishment, or abandonment when things go wrong. The modern workplace, just like human society throughout history, is filled with uncertainties, pressures, and competition. There are external threats: economic downturns, market shifts, competitors, and unforeseen challenges. But the internal threats, the fear of being fired, the anxiety of making a mistake, the feeling of being undervalued, are the ones that truly crush morale and weaken an organization from within. A leader who establishes a circle of safety shields their people from these internal fears, allowing them to thrive, take risks, and collaborate without hesitation. Again, people who feel safe are more likely to be innovative, proactive, and dedicated. They don't spend their energy on self-preservation. They invest it in creativity, problem-solving, and pushing boundaries. When employees fear their leaders, they only do what is necessary to survive. They avoid speaking up, they resist change, and they stay within their comfort zones to avoid being singled out. But when a leader fosters trust and safety, people are willing to take bold steps, experiment with new ideas, and contribute beyond what is expected of them. A team's ability to succeed is directly linked to how much psychological safety exists within it. Studies on high-performing teams consistently show that the best teams are not necessarily the ones with the most talent, the best resources, or the smartest individuals. The best teams are the ones where people feel safe to express themselves, to challenge ideas without fear of retaliation, and to admit when they don't know something. This kind of openness leads to stronger problem solving, more effective collaboration, and ultimately higher performance. Leaders set the tone for this kind of environment. If a leader constantly blames employees for failures, people will start hiding mistakes. If a leader fosters competition at the expense of teamwork, employees will begin undermining each other instead of working together. If a leader only rewards success and punishes failure, people will stop taking risks altogether. But if a leader shows that failure is a part of growth, that speaking up is encouraged, and that teamwork is more valuable than individual success, people will feel empowered to give their best. The circle of safety also builds loyalty. When people know that their leader will stand by them during difficult times, they are more willing to stand by their leader in return. This is why some companies have employees who stay for decades, while others have a revolving door of talent leaving the moment a better opportunity arises. The difference is not always about salary, benefits, or job titles. It is about the culture of safety and trust that a leader creates. In times of crisis, this concept becomes even more crucial. When uncertainty arises, people look to their leaders for reassurance. A weak leader, driven by fear, will start making impulsive decisions, cutting employees, shifting blame, and prioritizing short-term survival over long-term stability. A strong leader, however, will reinforce the circle of safety, ensuring that people feel protected even in uncertain times. This kind of leadership fosters unwavering commitment because people know that their leader will not abandon them when things get tough. History has shown that the most resilient organizations are not necessarily the ones with the best strategies, but the ones with the strongest cultures of trust and safety. When people feel safe, they are more willing to go the extra mile, to support one another, and to push through challenges with determination. When an organization lacks safety, even the most talented individuals will hesitate, disengage, or eventually leave in search of an environment where they feel valued. Leaders who fail to establish a circle of safety often wonder why their teams lack initiative, why employees are disengaged, or why turnover is high. They may assume that the problem lies with the individuals, but in reality, the issue is often the culture. A culture of fear creates employees who do the minimum required to keep their jobs. A culture of safety creates employees who are committed, passionate, and invested in the success of the organization. One of the most powerful ways a leader can establish safety is by taking responsibility for their people. When a leader protects their team, the team will protect the mission. Leaders who look out for their people first, before profit or personal gain, create an unbreakable bond of trust. And when trust exists, extraordinary things become possible. Leadership is not about authority. It is about empathy. The ability to understand, connect, and care for the people you lead is what separates great leaders from those who simply hold positions of power. People do not follow leaders because they have to. They follow because they feel seen, heard, and valued. Empathy is the foundation of trust, and trust is the foundation of leadership. A leader who leads with empathy recognizes that people are not just employees, team members, or subordinates. They are individuals with their own experiences, struggles, and aspirations. They have fears, doubts, and challenges both in and outside of work. When a leader takes the time to understand what drives their people, they gain the ability to inspire, motivate, and support them in a way that no command or policy ever could. One of the most common mistakes leaders make is assuming that their team exists to serve them. In reality, leadership is about serving others. It is about putting people in positions where they can succeed, removing obstacles from their path, and giving them the tools and encouragement they need to thrive. A leader who leads with empathy does not just demand results, they ask what their team needs in order to achieve those results. When people feel understood, they are more likely to give their best. They are more engaged, more committed, and more willing to go the extra mile. But when people feel like their leaders do not care about them, they disengage. They do the bare minimum, not because they are incapable, but because they do not feel invested in the mission. Empathy makes the difference between a team that simply functions and a team that thrives. Empathy in leadership also means active listening. Too often, leaders focus on speaking, directing, and giving instructions, but they fail to listen. Great leaders create spaces where their people feel safe to express their thoughts, concerns, and ideas. They listen not just to respond, but to understand. They ask questions, they pay attention, and they make adjustments based on what they hear. When people feel heard, they feel valued, and when they feel valued, they are more likely to trust and follow their leader. A leader who leads with empathy also understands that people are not perfect. Mistakes will happen. There will be failures, setbacks, and difficult moments. An empathetic leader does not react with frustration or punishment. They use these moments as opportunities for growth. Instead of blaming, they ask, "What happened? How can we learn from this?" They help their people navigate challenges instead of making them feel afraid to take risks. Empathy is also about recognizing strengths and weaknesses. Not everyone on a team will work the same way, have the same skills, or respond to the same kind of motivation. A great leader takes the time to understand each person's unique qualities and adapts their leadership approach accordingly. Some people need encouragement, while others need structure. Some thrive with independence, while others perform best with collaboration. When a leader is empathetic, they can bring out the best in each individual by recognizing and respecting their differences. One of the most powerful ways a leader can demonstrate empathy is by leading with humility. A leader who admits when they do not have all the answers, who is willing to learn from their team, and who acknowledges their own mistakes creates an environment of openness and trust. People do not expect leaders to be perfect. They expect them to be human. When a leader shows vulnerability, it gives others permission to do the same, which fosters a culture of authenticity and collaboration. The impact of empathy goes beyond just workplace performance. that it strengthens relationships, builds loyalty, and creates a sense of belonging. When people feel that their leader genuinely cares about them, not just as workers but as human beings, they are more likely to stay, grow, and contribute meaningfully. In contrast, leaders who lack empathy often struggle with high turnover, disengaged teams, and a toxic work culture. Empathy also plays a crucial role in handling conflict. In any organization, disagreements and tensions will arise. A leader who leads with empathy does not ignore these issues or impose their own solutions without consideration. Instead, they seek to understand both sides, facilitate honest conversations, and find resolutions that respect the perspectives of everyone involved. They do not see conflict as a disruption, but as an opportunity to strengthen relationships through understanding and compromise. A leader's ability to practice empathy is not just about emotional intelligence. It is a strategic advantage. Organizations with empathetic leaders have higher employee engagement, stronger collaboration, and a more positive culture. Teams perform better, morale is higher, and innovation flourishes. People feel comfortable bringing their ideas forward, knowing that their leader will listen and support them. Empathy is not a weakness, it is a strength. It does not mean lowering standards or avoiding difficult decisions. It means making decisions with people in mind. It means balancing results with relationships, performance with well-being, and goals with humanity. When leaders lead with empathy, they create environments where people want to succeed, not just because they have to, but because they feel valued, understood, and supported. True leadership is not about commanding others or enforcing authority. It is about service. The most respected and effective leaders are not those who demand obedience, but those who dedicate themselves to the success and well-being of the people they lead. Leadership is not a position, it is a responsibility. The best leaders do not see themselves as rulers, but as servants who exist to empower, support, and guide their team toward a greater vision. When a leader adopts a service mindset, everything changes. Decisions are no longer based solely on personal ambition or short-term gain, but on what is best for the team, the organization, and the mission. The focus shifts from control to empowerment. Instead of micromanaging or seeking to dominate, a leader who serves asks, "How can I help? What do you need to succeed?" This shift in perspective fosters trust, loyalty, and a culture of collaboration where people feel valued and respected. People do not respond well to control, but they respond powerfully to care. When a leader takes the time to genuinely invest in their people, to understand their challenges, and to provide them with the tools and support they need, those people become more engaged, more motivated, and more committed. Leadership is not about taking credit for success, but about creating an environment where success is possible for everyone. A leader who serves does not prioritize their own comfort over the needs of their team. They are willing to do the hard work, to make sacrifices, and to put in the effort required to ensure their people can thrive. They do not sit back and issue orders. They roll up their sleeves and lead by example. They do not expect others to do what they are unwilling to do themselves. This kind of leadership earns respect because people follow those who show that they are in it with them, not just above them. One of the most powerful aspects of servant leadership is that it creates a culture where others are inspired to lead as well. When people see their leader prioritizing the needs of the team, they begin to adopt the same mindset. They look out for one another, they support each other's growth, and they step up to take responsibility in ways they might not have otherwise. This creates a ripple effect where leadership is not concentrated in one person, but is spread throughout the entire organization. Servant leadership also fosters a deep sense of loyalty. People do not leave organizations, they leave bad leaders. When employees feel like they are just tools to be used for someone else's success, they disengage. They look for other opportunities. But when they feel supported, respected, and valued, they are far more likely to stay, to grow within the organization, and to give their best effort. The strongest teams are not built on fear or authority, but on trust and care. Serving others as a leader does not mean avoiding difficult decisions or failing to hold people accountable. It means making those decisions with fairness, integrity, and a genuine concern for the people involved. A leader who serves does not tolerate poor performance or allow negativity to spread unchecked. Instead, they guide, mentor, and correct with the intent of helping people improve rather than simply punishing or discarding them. Great leaders also understand that service is about listening. Too often, leaders believe they need to have all the answers, but the best leaders recognize that they are there to learn just as much as they are there to lead. They seek input, they listen to concerns, and they involve their team in the process of finding solutions. This not only leads to better decisions, but also makes people feel heard and respected. Service-based leadership requires humility. It means recognizing that leadership is not about status or power, but about responsibility. It requires the ability to set aside ego and focus on what truly matters, the growth and success of the people you lead. A humble leader is not afraid to admit mistakes, to give credit where it is due, and to acknowledge that they do not have all the answers. This openness and authenticity build trust and create an environment where people feel safe to contribute their best ideas. The most successful and respected leaders throughout history have been those who served. They did not see themselves as above their people, but as part of them. They led with vision, but they also led with care. They understood that true leadership is not about what you can take from others, but about what you can give. Great leadership is built on trust. Without trust, no organization, team, or movement can thrive. Trust is the invisible force that holds people together, enabling them to collaborate, take risks, and move forward with confidence. A leader who earns trust creates an environment where people feel safe to be honest, to contribute their ideas, and to commit fully to a shared vision. Trust is not given automatically. It is earned through consistent actions, integrity, and transparency. A leader cannot simply demand trust from their team. Trust is built over time by showing up, keeping promises, and demonstrating that words and actions align. When people see that their leader is reliable, fair, and honest, they begin to trust not only the leader but also the mission and the organization itself. One of the most powerful ways a leader builds trust is through consistency. People need to know what to expect from their leader. If a leader is unpredictable, if they change their stance depending on their mood, or if they make decisions based on personal emotions rather than principles, trust erodes quickly. A great leader remains steady, making decisions based on values and principles rather than momentary pressures or personal preferences. Another crucial element of trust is transparency. Leaders who are open and honest, even about challenges and uncertainties, earn far more trust than those who try to hide information or pretend to have all the answers. When people feel like they are being kept in the dark, they begin to question the intentions of their leader. But when a leader communicates openly, whether the news is good or bad, it builds confidence and reinforces the idea that they have nothing to hide. Trust is also built through accountability. A leader who holds themselves accountable sets the standard for the entire team. When mistakes happen, a leader who takes responsibility instead of blaming others shows integrity. People respect a leader who can admit when they are wrong and take steps to correct their course. On the other hand, a leader who avoids responsibility, shifts blame, or refuses to acknowledge their missteps quickly loses credibility. A leader who wants to build trust must also be competent. People trust those who are knowledgeable, skilled, and capable. If a leader constantly makes poor decisions, lacks expertise, or fails to provide guidance, trust diminishes. This does not mean a leader must have all the answers, but it does mean they must be committed to learning, improving, and surrounding themselves with people who complement their strengths. Competence is not about knowing everything. It is about having the wisdom to seek the right solutions and make sound decisions. Listening is another essential component of trust. People trust leaders who genuinely listen to their concerns, feedback, and ideas. When a leader takes the time to listen, it shows that they value their team and that they do not see themselves as above them. Dismissing input or ignoring concerns sends the message that people's voices do not matter, which leads to disengagement and distrust. A great leader makes people feel heard, and more importantly, they act on what they hear. Trust is also built through fairness. Leaders who play favorites, make biased decisions, or treat people unequally create resentment and division. A leader must be fair and just, making decisions that are based on principles rather than personal preferences. When people see that their leader treats everyone with respect and fairness, they feel more secure in their role and more committed to the organization. Another crucial aspect of trust is empathy. A leader who genuinely cares about the well-being of their team earns deep and lasting trust. When people know that their leader sees them as human beings rather than just employees or resources, they are more willing to give their best. Leaders who show empathy, check in on their people, and support them during difficult times build unbreakable bonds of trust. Trust is fragile. It takes time to build, but it can be broken in an instant. Leaders who betray trust, whether through dishonesty, hypocrisy, or self-serving actions, find it incredibly difficult to rebuild. That is why trust must be treated as a top priority, not as an afterthought. Every decision, every action, and every interaction contributes to whether trust grows or diminishes. A leader who cultivates trust creates a team that is more resilient, more engaged, and more united. Trust allows people to take risks, to innovate, and to work together without fear. It eliminates unnecessary tension, politics, and second-guessing. When trust is present, people move with confidence, knowing that their leader has their best interests at heart. A great leader is defined not by their ability to command, but by their ability to inspire. Leadership is not about issuing orders or enforcing rules. It is about igniting a vision so powerful that people willingly and passionately follow. True inspiration does not come from fear, authority, or status. It comes from authenticity, passion, and the ability to connect deeply with the people you lead. Inspiration is what transforms a group of individuals into a unified force working toward a common goal. When people are inspired, they do not need constant supervision or pressure to perform. They take initiative, they push boundaries, and they give their best effort because they believe in something greater than themselves. Inspired teams are more creative, more resilient, and more committed. They do not just work for a paycheck. They work with purpose. And then a leader who inspires starts with clarity of vision. People need to know why they are doing what they are doing. A leader who can articulate a compelling vision gives people a reason to care. It is not enough to set goals or outline strategies. Those are just steps in a process. The most effective leaders paint a picture of the future that is exciting, meaningful, and worth striving for. They help people see how their individual contributions fit into a larger mission. Passion is another key ingredient in inspiration. Passion is contagious. A leader who genuinely believes in their mission, who shows enthusiasm and dedication, naturally draws others in. When people see their leader fully invested, they feel a sense of energy and motivation. Passion is not about being loud or charismatic. It is about showing deep, unwavering commitment. It is about demonstrating through actions, not just words, that the mission truly matters. A leader who inspires also knows how to communicate effectively. They understand that inspiration is not about empty motivational speeches or forcing enthusiasm. It is about making people feel something real. Great leaders use stories, examples, and personal experiences to create emotional connections. They do not just list facts or issue directives. They make their vision come alive in a way that resonates deeply with those who hear it. One of the most powerful ways a leader can inspire is through leading by example. People do not follow words alone, they follow actions. A leader who expects dedication must show dedication. A leader who values hard work must embody it. A leader who preaches integrity must live with integrity. Inspiration comes from authenticity. When people see their leader embody the values they talk about, they believe in the message. But when they see a leader who says one thing and does another, inspiration fades and trust is lost. A leader who inspires also understands the importance of recognition and encouragement. People want to know that their work matters. They want to feel valued and appreciated. Leaders who take the time to acknowledge effort, celebrate achievements, and lift people up create an environment where motivation thrives. Encouragement fuels confidence, and confidence fuels action. A few words of genuine appreciation can be the spark that keeps someone pushing forward even through challenges. Overcoming adversity is another powerful source of inspiration. Every journey has obstacles, setbacks, and failures. A leader who faces challenges with resilience and optimism inspires their team to do the same. When people see their leader staying strong in difficult times, they feel a sense of reassurance. They believe that if their leader does not give up, neither should they. Inspiration often comes not from perfect success, but from perseverance in the face of struggle. Empowering others is also at the heart of inspiration. A leader who lifts people up, who gives them responsibility, who believes in their potential, inspires them to rise to the occasion. When people are trusted to take ownership of their work, they feel a deeper connection to the mission. Micromanagement stifles inspiration. Empowerment fuels it. A great leader does not just tell people what to do, they help people see what they are capable of achieving. Authenticity is another critical component. People are not inspired by leaders who try to be something they are not. They are inspired by those who are real, who share their struggles, who admit their mistakes, and who remain true to their values. Authentic leaders do not put on a performance. They lead with sincerity. They speak from the heart, and people respond to that honesty. Inspiration is also about creating a sense of belonging. When people feel like they are part of something meaningful, when they feel like their contributions matter, they become invested. A leader who fosters a culture of inclusion where every person feels valued builds a team that is not just working together, but truly committed to a shared purpose. The impact of an inspiring leader extends beyond just work or productivity. It changes lives. People who are inspired by their leaders often carry that energy into other areas of their lives. They become better, stronger, more confident versions of themselves. Inspiration has a ripple effect. It spreads from the leader to the team to the organization, and from the organization to the world beyond.